No, but he ain't gonna pick up. It's got the on TV. Yeah. Oh, we gonna get into it too. We gonna listen to some music, y'all. So really, the man, hey, wanna see me from TN anywhere you wanna see me. Yeah, Chad, what the fuck is up, man? I know I'm sound a little, I'm gonna sound a little down tonight, man. I'm tired as fuck, bro. I just got home not too long ago. I just wanted to hop on here, man, with y'all for like an hour and a half at most. Do two reactions, listen to a couple songs, man, and we gonna get our screen. Ain't no telling what we gonna watch today. I got a lot I had saved from earlier. Got a lot we need to watch. You know, I'm all behind, man. I know y'all probably can't see, but good, 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 good chop salad. You know what I'm saying? Good pork chop salad. You know what I mean? Um, blazing and raisin. You know what I mean? Um, anyway, we shall get straight into it, man. We ain't gonna hold up the screen. Like I said, I only want to get on here for like an hour and a half the most. Um, come fuck with y'all, man. So let's get into it.
And talk I already told you people I'm not explaining anything. These vehicles and the funding tied to them, we're talking about millions in fire and EMS accounts. Those are not what you think they are. You are twisting.
The search warrant for Jamie Knowles' storage facilities was signed months before this moment.
Oh, he mad.
What agents found inside, 40 classic cars, paid for with firefighters' money, is the reason he's being handcuffed right now. He's about to find out they know everything.
Twist the Yale Fire Association cards and New Chapel EMS spending. You have no idea how that system actually works. You just walked in here and decided a story.
Within 72 hours of that confrontation, Indiana State Police investigators would back a flatbed truck up to a private storage building in southern Indiana and begin loading classic cars, 43 of them in total, a 1970 Plymouth Superbird, a 1959 Corvette, 2 Dodge Chargers from the late 60s. Every vehicle traced back through credit card statements to a Volunteer Firefighters Association card, 27 felony counts, $2.8 million stolen from a fire department, a $2,500 bill at a Hooters in Jeffersonville, charged to taxpayers. And the man being arrested was the sitting governor's former campaign chair. All right, I want to run something by you before we go any further. When you picture public corruption, you probably picture a politician taking an envelope under a table somewhere. This case is different.
I don't. I'm one of the ones who know they all corrupted. As long as you work for the government.
This is what happens when one person controls the sheriff's office, the fire department, and the EMS company all at the same time, with no one above him checking the receipts.
I know it.
Drop a comment and tell me. Would you have noticed if the man running your county's 911 system was buying himself Plymouth Superbirds with the rescue budget? Subscribe and hit the bell while you're there. We cover cases like this every week, and the next one is already working.
Clean ass paint on the motherfucker. Restored paint.
Jamie Knowles was born in 1970 in southern Indiana, the kind of country where the Ohio River cuts a hard line between Louisville and Jeffersonville, and where the fire department and the sheriff's office are two of the most respected institutions in any small town. His father worked construction. His mother kept the household.
Well, he fucked that up, didn't he?
The Knowles were not wealthy. They were the kind of working family who treated public service as a calling. The people who showed up at the church fish fry. The people who answered the volunteer fire pager at 3 in the morning. The people who knew every deputy in the county by his first name. By his late teens, Jamie Knowles had already decided on the path. He enrolled in the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. He joined the Utica Township Volunteer Fire Department as a young firefighter in the early 1990s, sliding down the pole, riding the back step of a pumper truck on rural county runs, learning the small-town economy of volunteer emergency services. The Utica Township Department in those years was exactly what it sounded like. Volunteers, paged out from their day jobs, driving second-hand trucks, running pancake breakfasts to pay for new turnout gear. Early evaluations from his law enforcement training described him as ambitious, politically aware, and naturally charismatic. One supervisor wrote that he had a gift for organization and a gift for people.
We see that.
He could remember a name. He could walk into a room of strangers and walk out with allies. In a county where political relationships compounded over decades, those were the right skills.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be watching this video.
He worked his way through
I don't know why they trying to hit us with this deep-ass story we don't care about. He's a thief.
Series of law enforcement positions in Clark County: deputy, patrol sergeant, administrative roles. He took on the leadership of New Chapel EMS, a private ambulance and fire response company that contracted with municipalities across southern Indiana for emergency medical transport services. He became chief of the Utica Township Volunteer Fire Department. By his early 40s, Jamie Knoll was no longer just a deputy or a firefighter. He was a network. He sat at the center of 3 organizations whose budgets crossed paths constantly: the county, the township, the private EMS company. In 2014, he ran for Clark County Sheriff. He won. He took office in January of 2015. He was 44 years old. He had built more than 2 decades of relationships across southern Indiana, across the volunteer fire community, across the Indiana Republican Party. And he was about to be handed something no one in his position had ever quite had before: the credit cards. His political profile expanded almost immediately. In 2016, he chaired Eric Holcomb's gubernatorial campaign and helped deliver the Indiana State House to a man who would become a 2-term governor. In 2020, he led Holcomb's re-election effort. Inside the Indiana Republican Party, Jamie Knoll was understood to be a kingmaker, a southern Indiana operator who could turn out volunteers, fund a county-level operation overnight, and deliver a precinct. He carried himself like it: the dark suits, the aviator sunglasses, the handshake that landed a beat too long. A 2022 leaked membership list would later identify Jamie Knoll as a member of the Oath Keepers, the far-right extremist organization whose name had been in federal indictments after January 6th. The disclosure did not derail him. His political insulation, by that point, had been compounding for more than a decade. He was, by every external measure, untouchable. To understand what happened in Clark County between 2015 and 2022, you have to understand what semi-private public safety financing actually is. In rural and suburban Indiana, fire departments are not always the straightforward government agencies people imagine. The Utica Township Volunteer Fire Department was, technically, a volunteer organization. Citizens who answered fire and rescue calls in Utica Township and the surrounding rural areas. But the department operated under a corporate-style umbrella called the Utica Township Volunteer Firefighters Association, which did business as New Chapel EMS. The association ran the ambulance service. It billed Medicare. It billed Medicaid. It billed private insurance. Every time a paramedic loaded a patient onto a gurney and drove that patient to a hospital, an invoice generated. Federal reimbursement money flowed in. That money funded the operations: trucks, equipment, salaries for the paid paramedics, fuel, and the association maintained a set of credit cards for what was, on paper, operational purchasing: bunker gear, replacement parts, office supplies, food for...
Hold on, what are we live on right now? Is we live on YouTube? Bro, if I'm live on YouTube, that's gonna piss me off. What am I live on right now? I don't even know what I'm live on right now. It ain't YouTube. What the hell is going on? It gotta be Twitch. My bad, y'all. My computer is tweaking, so I don't know what the hell we live on. My bad. All right, let's get back into it.
Crews running through a long incident. The structural vulnerability was simple. The association's bylaws did not require credit card statements to be presented to any external auditor on a monthly basis. The treasurer reported to the board. The board was small. The board members served at the discretion of the chief, and the chief was Jamie Knoll. The same structural picture repeated at the sheriff's department. The Clark County Sheriff was the elected administrator of the county jail, the patrol force, and the office's purchasing accounts. The sheriff's office credit cards were, in theory, subject to county council review. In practice, the council reviewed budgets, not line items. They did not pull individual receipts. They did not ask why a sheriff's office card had been swiped at a Cracker Barrel in Tennessee on a weekend.
He ballin'.
The third leg of the structure was New Chapel EMS itself.
Hey, he got hold of all them people's shit. His ass balling off their spit.
The private ambulance company that contracted to provide emergency medical transports across multiple municipalities in southern Indiana. New Chapel was a revenue-generating operation. It billed Medicare and Medicaid. It collected, and it carried its own credit cards for company expenses, which Knoll controlled directly. 3 sets of credit cards, 3 different statement cycles, 3 different sets of board members who saw only their own slice, and 1 man sitting at the center who could move money between organizations by reclassifying expenses. A fuel charge that should have been county sheriff was logged to Utica Township. A vacation that should have been personal was logged to New Chapel EMS. A Rolex purchase, if the receipt was vague enough, could be processed as office equipment. The system was not just unguarded, it was structurally designed to fail. No one noticed. No one checked. The first charges that would later draw Indiana State Police attention were not extravagant. They were ordinary. A restaurant tab here, a clothing purchase there, a weekend's worth of fuel charged to the sheriff's office card. Nothing that, in isolation, would trigger an auditor. What changed was the volume. By 2017, Jamie Knoll had begun using the Utica Township Volunteer Firefighters Association credit card, the way a billionaire would use a Black American Express. Concert tickets, hotel stays at resort properties, designer clothing, department store charges that ran into the 4 figures in a single afternoon.
Fucking barking just to be barking. Hell, that goddamn dog just do that shit. Just bark, just to bark. Like, shut the fuck up. God damn.
Restaurant tabs at fine dining establishments in Indianapolis and Louisville. The credit card was the Firefighters Association card. The receipts went into a folder that nobody outside Jamie Knoll's direct control would ever see. Then came the watches. Investigators would later document multiple Rolex purchases, thousands of dollars per watch, charged to Firefighters Association funds. The Rolexes were not gifts to first responders.
Bro is buying jewelry off the expense of his co-workers, of his ex-co-workers. Boy, this shit cruel, boy.
They were not award presentations. They were on Jamie Knoll's wrist. Then came the tuition. Investigators traced college tuition payments for family members. Payments that, by any honest accounting, were personal.
I think this him for real, so I'm trying to figure out what time did they have to take this memorable photo right here? What in their minds was saying? Yeah, we're gonna park the ambulance under the shed, and you act like you handed me the coffee, and we're gonna take the picture. What? I believe this is definitely a real picture, and I definitely believe that to the left, I believe this is Jamie, Mr. Jamie right here. So I'm just trying to figure out, how did this picture come about? That's all.
Household expenses. They ran through the cards of the emergency services organizations, child support obligations, payments that should have come out of his personal income, instead drawn from money that had originated, in many cases, as Medicare reimbursement for emergency ambulance transports. Then there was the Hooters in Jeffersonville, a casual American restaurant chain. $2,500 in charges, billed to the Utica Township Volunteer Firefighters Association card. Burgers, wings, beer, charged to a volunteer fire department, and then came the cars. By 2019, Jamie Knoll had begun accumulating what would eventually grow into a collection of more than 40 classic and exotic vehicles. 2 1970 Plymouth Superbirds, the winged Mopar muscle cars that, in restored condition, can sell at auction for $200,000 and more. a 1959 Corvette, a 1966 Dodge Charger, a 1968 Dodge Charger, each one acquired with credit card charges or bank transfers traced back to fire and EMS accounts. He stored them in a personal facility, a metal building with concrete floors, climate control, and bay doors. He hired detailers. He commissioned restorations. And here was the part.
He tried to hide them and make sure they were cleaned up. He balling. He balling off their money. Bro, you know how much it is for somebody to come out and to even vacuum your fucking car and give it a wash? And he talking about he got somebody coming out spraying the building and wiping the cars off and cleaning the interior with the best cloth there is to clean it with and put shine on the dashboard. Come on, man, this shit crazy.
That, when investigators later put it together, made the judge call the conduct one outlandish discovery after another. Jamie Knoll tasked Clark County Sheriff's Office employees, people on the public payroll, during their official paid duty hours, with work related to his personal car collection, moving vehicles, inventorying parts, coordinating with restoration shops. The same logic extended to the air fleet. The sheriff's office had, at Knoll's direction, acquired aircraft. He flew. He owned a personal airplane. And taxpayer-subsidized fuel intended for the sheriff's office aircraft, went into his private plane's tanks. What made the scheme work, year after year, was Jamie Knoll's political cover. He was the governor's campaign chair. He was the GOP kingmaker in southern Indiana. If anyone inside the sheriff's office had noticed the charges and wondered out loud, that person would have understood, quickly, what challenging Jamie Knoll meant for their own career. The system did not need bribes. It needed silence, and it had silence. The first responders who actually answered calls, the paramedics and firefighters running on aging equipment, knew something was wrong long before the state police did. They knew the equipment was breaking. They knew their shifts were short-staffed. They were the ones, on certain nights, who covered Utica Township alone because their colleagues had been pulled off duty to drive one of Jamie Knoll's personal limousines for an event. Citizens' lives were, by their own later testimony, put in jeopardy. And the worst part was the operational priority that emerged. Non-emergency transfers, the routine hospital-to-hospital moves that Medicare reimbursed at the highest rates, were prioritized over 911 calls. Because the transfers made more money, that money kept the credit card spinning. The Indiana State Police corruption investigation did not start with a single dramatic moment. It started with a question, quiet, internal, asked by people inside the emergency services system who had finally grown tired of watching the structure rot. The exact origin of the state police inquiry has never been fully detailed in public filings. What is documented is the trajectory. Sometime in 2022, as Jamie Knoll approached the end of his second and final term as Clark County Sheriff under Indiana's term limits, investigators began pulling records, credit card statements from the Utica Township Volunteer Firefighters Association, bank records from New Chapel EMS, vendor invoices, vehicle title history.
Nah, they just ain't all of a sudden. Nah. What it was, they was already on him. They already knew he was stealing people's shit. They already knew. See, he thinking and everybody else thinking just like the dude that just like the creator of this video, shouts out to you, but see, he got everybody thinking that he was just going undetected all this time until all of a sudden his last 2 months on the job. No. That didn't happen. See, they was already this shit just that's how the feds and the Secret Service and the private all this shit. That's how this shit works. Yeah, they watch you from time and time again until they make sure it's that time. And then when it's that time, they come and get you. It's that simple. Them people being knew he was doing stealing people's shit, doing crooked shit. Trust me, it wasn't going ahead. Trust me.
They cross-referenced the charges against Jamie Knowles' personal property holdings. What they found, very quickly, did not require sophisticated forensic accounting. The patterns were obvious. A vehicle title in Jamie Knowles' personal name, a purchase price, a series of credit card charges on a firefighters association card totaling that purchase price, spread across 2 or 3 transactions. The paper trail did not run through a complicated shell company structure. It ran in a straight line. By 2023, the investigation had grown to include forensic accountants who specialized in Medicare reimbursement fraud. They examined the New Chapel EMS billing patterns. They examined the prioritization of non-emergency transfers over 911 calls. They interviewed paramedics. They interviewed firefighters. They interviewed people who had once worked at the sheriff's office and were now willing to talk about what they had been asked to do during paid duty hours. The catalyst that turned the investigation from a record...
Okay, y'all. So I thought this was a video. He basically just telling basically what happened to the dude. I really don't want to see that or hear that. Honestly, I really don't care for like the storyline for real. I'm really watching this for the fucking arrest video, the body cam footage of what he was flipping out. Cause his ass, like he was getting mad. Yeah, crazy, but crazy. We don't got the whole video on him though. We want to tell stories. Nah, but why we ain't got the whole footage, the whole incident, the whole case of what happened. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I don't like shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Cause it's like, cause see what it's like. It's like you still trying to save face. You know what I'm saying? I don't fuck with that. You know what I'm saying? I don't fuck with it. But shouts out to you though. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to you. But yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't no all of a sudden. Nah, it wasn't no all of a sudden. Nah, them people being on his ass. They being on his ass. Trust me. Trust me.